Tony, why was Swamp Thing upset last month when all of his enemies were in the swamp?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it was marsh madness. Welcome to the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. You found Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. We are so excited that you're here tonight. Welcome. I'm Ryan Magic Lasso. And let's say hello to Signature King Tony Fett. Hello, Tony.
Hello, everyone. And
how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Another DC Sunday, so...
It is. Yeah.
It's always good.
No Tim the Comic Collector for this week's show.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird not having him here for 1 week.
Yeah. And no Comic Food 2814. He's not going to be here tonight, and he's not going to be here next week.
I hear the ambassador of Condor summoned him.
But you know what show he was here for?
Which one?
Captain Carrot.
He was
not going to miss that.
And we would have waited for him. I would have waited.
No, he wasn't going to miss that. He wasn't going to miss that for the world.
No.
But he's out the next couple weeks, but we'll do the best that we can. How was your week? What's new?
It was great. I made it over to the LCS and picked up a couple of books. I pulled the trigger on some... I picked up a pack of variant titles. I'll show them with you what I got here soon. But
okay.
Yeah, some DC. You buy a pack of variants, and it's DC indie mixed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it could be 1 in 10s, 1 in 50s, whatever. But that was kind of interesting, kind of fun. But yeah, looking forward to making the journey. A new LCS open in my neck of the woods, so very excited for that.
Nice. How's their back issue selection?
I don't know yet. But
you haven't gone?
Really
okay.
Good. I haven't gone. That's this week. I'm going to go.
Nice.
So I was just chomping at the bits to get back there and diving in.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, cool. Well, let's start out by saying hello to John's Comics with Kids in the live chat. That's John's Comics with Kids Wrench.
Wrench?
Yes.
Did he give himself a wrench?
No, I gave him one.
Oh, okay.
He gave me one over on his channel, too. So, John sent me an AOK that I'm unboxing this upcoming week on my comic book editions video.
Very cool.
Yeah. Let's say hello to poor Mike. How you doing? Hey, it's great to see you here. I was just looking at my Fanboys thing that you made us. I was just looking at that just a little bit ago before we came on.
Yeah, mine right up there. I think you can see it. Maybe. Yep, right there. Right. Oh, it's backwards. Right.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
Right there.
Yep. That's awesome. And our good friend I Collect a Lot has stopped by to see us today, too. So we appreciate that. If you're watching on the rewind, of course, we appreciate you, too. If anyone else jumps in during the live chat, we'll make sure to acknowledge them as well. So as we start to segue into the news portion of what's going on, I think probably the big story... Oh, Old Wolfie's here. Old Wolf 65. Wolfie's here. Hello, Wolfie.
The other Tony.
Yeah. Probably the biggest news story, at least that I think, since last week's show was an unfortunate one. Another comic book legend has passed away. Trina Robbins passed away at the age of 85. Of course, we had mentioned that she had a stroke, what was it, 5-6 weeks ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. And she passed away at the age of 85. Groundbreaking legend in the business. She also was the first female to draw Wonder Woman in Wonder Woman's title.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And, she's known for a lot of work, both with the major companies and the independent stuff as well. She has ties to Vampirilla as well. And sad to hear of her passing. I never had the chance to meet her or really interact with her. Don't have the autograph either. But I did enjoy her work.
Yeah. What years was she active on Wonder Woman?
She didn't, to my knowledge, I don't think she did Wonder Woman for like a huge stretch of time. But, she was groundbreaking in just the fact that to have a woman working on comic books, back in the Silver Age, that it just wasn't happening back then. So.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out and see what issue she started with.
Yeah. She did a Wonder Woman limited series in between Volume 1 and Volume 2, which I'll talk about a little bit later on when we get to the book show portion today.
Very interesting.
So, yeah. What you got going on for news?
For those of you who lived under a rock this last couple days, the big Joker 2 trailer was dropped.
Okay, so I did not watch it, but I did watch the teaser with him just standing in the rain laughing the entire time.
That's such a weird teaser.
Yeah, so how was the trailer?
I don't know.
You didn't watch it either?
I watched it, but I don't understand how I feel about it yet, because I think Joaquin Phoenix did a great Joker, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited about that. Lady Gaga coming in as Harley Quinn. It's weird to see Lady Gaga not dressed up like a peacock or something. You know,
okay.
Really wild. You know,
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because that's what she's doing. Really crazy outfits.
Yeah.
For concerts. So when you see her just as a normal person, you're like, is that Lady Gaga? Like, I don't know.
Not wearing a meat dress.
Yeah, a meat dress or a balloon or whatever.
Yeah. Hello to Gore, who stopped in to see us too. Great to see you here.
Gore. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting trip. There's some, the theories have gone rampant after watching the full trailer, but we'll see. I think it's going to be a good movie. It depends on, because one of the rumors was, we talked about a couple weeks ago, that it was going to be this big musical production. We weren't sure how we felt about that, but now that I see the trailer, maybe they could pull something like that off. But it's like threading the needle, you know what I mean? They got to do it like just right.
Yeah.
Because I want to see some action too,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But we'll see. That comes out, I think, this fall.
I still want, I don't know if they're dabbling origin-wise, but I still want Harley or Harleen to be his therapist. That I just think that that's a very clever concept, that he is so good and so wicked that he could take a therapist and drive her insane. I like that concept.
And that's the part that when you watch the trailer, I didn't get that was the route that they were going.
Okay.
I feel like they went a completely different way around it. I mean, maybe that was just the way they intended it to go to the trailer to keep everyone on their toes. I don't know. But yeah, when you see the trailer, that's not the impression you get.
Yeah. Okay.
So, spoiler for those who haven't seen the trailer.
Okay. What else is going on news-wise?
Let's see. I have another one here. Where to go? They're still trying to investigate that artist that possibly used AI-generated Batman art in the comic book. So that's a huge no-no. Why would you do that anyway? Like, fans are going to notice. My favorite watching the new X-Men 97 show is great. Awesome.
I have loved that too. The current episode, the one that came out this past week, was probably the best episode yet. Hey, okay. Ben, thanks for stopping by, Ben. But we'll let Tom talk about that on his Fanboys Live and the Make Mine Marvel review.
Yeah, the Mutant Mayhem Monday. That's on the show.
Yeah.
Peacemaker season 2 finally starts filming.
Give a dog an invisible bone.
On Monday, so tomorrow they start filming Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah.
I'm curious to how they're going to do the whole universe thing, because it was part of the DCU and now it's coming over to this part of the. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Flash screwed it up so bad, and we'll never know. But which is weird because you still have Waller. I have no idea. it's all a mess. But
so, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's all I got for news, really.
So I mentioned this and wanted to share it too. I mentioned this in our private chat, but DC's doing some variant covers with this Garcia Lopez stock art from the DC Comics style book back in the 80s. And there's going to be 7 covers coming out, I think, in June for Batman 150, Green Arrow 14, Green Lantern 13, Shazam 13, Superman 16, Flash 11, and Wonder Woman 11. So I guess these are going to be wraparound covers. And this is kind of your look at what you can see. I think these are pretty cool. And you mentioned these would be awesome to get signed.
Yes, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez is going to be at Baltimore Comic-Con this year. He's been the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. He's on the guest list this year. So, man, I'm really excited for this. I might even get these slabbed, witness and slab, just because I really enjoy his work. I enjoy him as a person. I enjoy the stories that he tells me when we meet. So I think this if I do get this side, this would just be a memory. For me, I don't think this is really going to be a high dollar.
No. But they're fun.
Oh my gosh, they're so fun. They're so fun.
I have something similar. It's not the same artwork, but I have something similar that was done over in Brazil for a comic book convention several years ago with his artwork. And I've showed some of those in my videos and on Instagram before. But now, one thing someone pointed out, Tony, I'm going to go through these images real quick again, okay? So take a look here, okay? Are all of our covers going to have butts?
Yeah, they all have butts. The Wonder Woman butt is less definitive.
Yeah.
Because it's still there, but it's a
flash butt. So I don't know if we're going to have butts on the covers of everything or what, but I still think that it's a cool concept, and I'm definitely going to buy all of them to have the full set.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to buy them. Definitely going to get them signed, so I'm very excited.
Awesome. Cool.
I forgot all about that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else going on news-wise?
Oh, man. Not that I can think of. Not in the comic book world. I'm sure there is somewhere, but not on the DC side of the house.
Yeah. Relatively quieter.
Although your shirt is appropriate.
Okay.
For the Batgirl variants that are on sale right now.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about those?
Yeah. Oh, I do, but I don't at the same time.
Okay.
There's not many left.
Okay. There's some really cool Batgirl variants that are going to be available at, is it C2E2?
Yeah.
Yep. So is there some place that there's a pre-order for those, a limited amount? Or did you order yet?
I have not.
Okay, then we want to talk about that.
I plan to do so after the show. Maybe I should have done it. I completely forgot.
You'll have to do that during my retro review.
No, because I got to do the book.
Oh, that's right. You have to do the assist. So
I'll take care of it as soon as the show's over. I'm buying them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there are some cool ones. I did see the images. So I saw JP show them on his budget channel, whatever report last night. So
we'll
cool.
See.
Yeah. So as we segue into our retro review tonight, it was going to be Comic Food 2814's pick, and he said, you took my pick already by us doing Captain Carrot. So, he stormed off in a huff, and that's why he's not going to be here for the next 2 weeks. So we advanced up to your pick, and tell us what you picked and why.
I picked Brightest Day, the Swamp Thing Aftermath. Why I picked this one, honestly, I have no idea.
Okay.
I like Brightest Day. It's a classic DC story. I remember reading some of the spinoffs. I don't recall if this is very good. And honestly, the only reason I picked it is because I was going through that section of my file cabinet, and I just happened to be touching it, and I was like, all right, perfect. This is it. It's short. It's quick. It's smooth. There's a lot of action in it.
Yep.
There's a lot of intrigue and mystery, so it checks a lot of boxes for this short little run that it is.
Yeah, it's a 3-issue limited series, and between the two of us, we're going to go through all 3 tonight. So you want to get us kicked off then?
Yeah, so issue 1, let's get a little bit, zoom out here. So here's issue 1. It's pretty awesome. I don't know who did the cover art, though, but that's okay. Full disclosure, this issue, I don't know if it was for issue 2, but there are some seriously long ads in this run. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get to, but like ads that went like 5 or 6 pages. There's one ad.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It was so annoying. Let's see right here. We'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we start off in London, today, and it talks about, brightest. What it doesn't call it brightest day, but it says, Earth saves from disaster. But in the paper that John's reading, it talks about, eco-terror threat is like crazy high. All these things are going on around the world that are happening right now. And, he's reading the Greyhound sporting races, and he's apparently the winning dog was called Satan's Paw. John was like, man, I should have bet on that. No, whatever. But, he has like this big vision, where he ends up going to, I assume, some kind of the Royal Botanical Gardens, and he's actually trying to communicate with Swamp Thing, and he says, "You old mossy sod, are you in there or not?" And he gets attacked by vegetation, and luckily Chaz is there to help him, but there's this little tiny sliver of plant matter that does make it into what looks like his bloodstream. But like I said, Chaz was there. They managed to escape, and now the Botanical Gardens is run wild with all these vines and everything, and they're trying to get out. And that's when John notices, like, oh man, looks like I've been some kind of infected. Let's get on the flight out of here. And he's trying to investigate Swamp Thing. He can't find, for whatever reason, nobody has seen Swamp Thing, but like there's these eco-terror events happening all over the world. So he gets on a plane, and he is going to go head over to Gotham. But before he gets there, we go over to Gotham, and we saw that Gotham is not immune to what's happening with all these eco-terror attacks. Apparently, the gentleman that you see here, who's dead, he was convicted of dumping illegally and killing a bunch of plants, and causing this whole thing to happen. Meanwhile, we cut back to John. Looks like he's made it to Gotham. He hails down a cab, but the cab was in the middle of being robbed. But John Constantine says, "Oh no, I'm not English. I actually speak Spanish." It was really funny. And then he threw some kind of pixie dust. And in the most British thing ever, he said, "Sawed off, you tosser," and then kind of throws him in the trash. Now that John is actually in the cab and he's talking to the driver, and he's like, "Listen, I need you to take me to someone who dresses really scary and comes out at night." The cab driver's like, "Oh, you're talking about Batman." Full disclosure, again, Batman and John at this point don't know each other. They know of each other, but they've never met. So he said, "Okay, follow the bat signal. We'll take you there." And it's a great start. We cut to Batman, and he's taking care of business. And then he sees that there's some kind of distress beacon at the Botanical Gardens. We see Alfred kind of faint a little bit, and then all of a sudden, inside the Batmobile, John Constantine appears. This part's really funny. So he's like, "Hey, this is who I am. I'm John Constantine. I'm here to help." We skip here's one of the stupidly long ads. It's like 5 or 6 pages about Subway and fighting Gorilla Grodd. So if you're interested in that, there it is. He says, "My name's John Constantine. I think we could really benefit from each other." And the Batman just ninja kicks him out of the Batmobile and yells, "No smoking," which I thought was really funny. He says, "Hey, I know what's happened with the Botanical Gardens. I know everything about the guy's death in Gotham." Now Batman's beating him up real good, trying to get him to talk. He's like, "Listen, dude, like, we're on the same side. Like, I want to stop this as much as you. Look at my hand. You know what I mean? I was attacked by one of these. So clearly I have a dog in this fight." So as he's holding Batman's hand, he's like, Batman's having a vision, and he's afraid that he's slipped in some kind of hallucinogenic thing. But no, he's gone in some kind of altered state. and they find Swamp Thing in this alternate universe. And immediately Swamp Thing attacks John Constantine. He wakes up, and it's the lovely Zatanna who brings him back. But I thought this line here was pretty good. Oh, am I in heaven? And Zatanna's like, he's fine. Can I go now? Which I thought was really funny. So clearly Zatanna and Batman know each other, and Zatanna and John Constantine know each other. So Zatanna kind of cures him a little bit of what's going on with his hand. We cut to, in my opinion, this is the most important part of the story. We cut to Louisiana in the swamp, and Batman's John's filling in Batman. He's like, "Look, Swamp Thing he went into the swamp. He died. He came back to life as the Swamp Thing. He has all the memories of Alec Holland. He can do everything Alec Holland did, except he's just plants. You know what I mean? Like he transformed his mind into the plants. But they notice that they have a problem because Alec Holland has come out of the swamp alive, which now means that Alec Holland and Swamp Thing are two different beings at this point. So wrap up issue 1. Let's get to 2.
Okay.
So here we have our cover.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep, there's a variant.
Awesome.
Okay, so we start out on this flight, and Constantine's on this flight. It ends up that he's headed to Metropolis. And with Gotham Metropolis being like sister cities, I don't know why you would take a flight from one to the other, but Constantine's kind of being annoyed by the guy that's sitting next to him. He just really wants his cigarettes, and the guy keeps talking to him. As they're starting to get closer and land into Gotham, the vegetation starts to come up and starts to encase the airplane, and Constantine realizes that they're in big trouble. But as he looks out, he sees this hand, and he realizes that what he needed to do is being accomplished because there's Superman there to stop the airliner and the jet and to save the people. And he just kind of steps back and lets Superman do his thing. And Superman uses some of his heat vision to stop the vegetation of the plant. And he comes over to meet John Constantine. And he's pretty blunt with Constantine, saying, look, I'm only here because Batman asked me to help you out. He says, and I was going to help you out, but then I see this middle of this crisis, and you have abilities, and you don't even lift a finger. And he's like, well, I really wouldn't have known what to do if I had. And as he raises his hand to smoke, you get a good sense of his arm there. And you see that from what you were talking about in your story, Tony, that little sliver, how that's kind of infected his hand. And then it gives us a flashback to earlier. So here's Batman and Constantine talking. You can see that at this point, it hasn't infected as much of his hand, although it's starting to grow and will continue to grow. And Batman's saying, I think Zatanna's probably your best bet at being able to get rid of that. And he's like, well, she wasn't able to. And Batman's like, scientifically, what I think you're going to need to burn this off. And he's like, I think I know just the man who's going to be able to take care of this. So now we cut back to present day, and Superman's like, look, I don't know what Batman was thinking, telling you that I could just use my heat vision on you. I wouldn't do this to anyone. I will turn your arm to ash. I will burn your arm or your hand off if I try to do this. He's like, well, you just did that to your old pal Swamp Thing. And he's like, well, okay, not really Swamp Thing, but part of the green, you know. And he's very dangerous, and he's back in the States, and Superman is just kind of annoyed with Constantine. You know, he says, you're the danger here. So Constantine encircles himself in a magic circle. Of course, Superman's immune to magic. And he starts to explain what's going on. But now we cut over. He starts to explain about Alec Holland. So we cut over to Louisiana. Alec Holland's out in this swamp area. It's raining. And someone approaches him that's all dressed, you know, like a scientist, but who's trying to protect themselves as well. And he takes him, and they start walking back. And Alec's like, I know this place. This is my laboratory. And the guy's like, well, your laboratory, you know, no, it's a laboratory, but it's really not yours. This is property of LexCorp as they walk in. So he explains to Alec a little bit more how they're trying to do work to revolutionize humanoids' relationship with the natural nature's world. So he's like, well, tell me about your story. He's like, well, some of it I can recall, some of it I can't. Like, I know my name. I remember dying. And this guy's like, well, surely that can't be right. He's like, no, but I remember I had a wife named Linda who I loved so much. And the scientist that took him here says, hey, you're having a fever dream. It's infection from the swamp. That's what's going on. And he's like, well, that kind of does make sense. So now we cut back to Constantine and Superman. And, he's telling Superman that he believes that Alec Holland, is not part of Swamp Thing anymore, that the two have been separated, and that's going to be a problem. And he kind of says, well, now that I've kind of explained this to you, is this, can I get out of this little magic circle? And so he does. Superman grabs a hold of him and says, hold on tight. We're going pretty high up. And as they start flying around, they're still talking. And eventually Constantine's like, where are you taking me? And he's like, why didn't you think to come here? And he's like, here where? To the place where this happened. The Star City Forest is where they end up. And you'll see that Superman drops Constantine off right there. And Constantine starts walking through the forest. This is where the public saw two different Swamp Things fighting one another. And Constantine, encircles himself a protection ring of magic, lights up another cigarette. As Superman's flying overhead, he looks down and he can start to see the green starting to shift and move and head towards Constantine. And he's like, you need to get out of there. But Constantine's like, I got to wait for it. So he stands there. He knows the green's coming for him. The green kind of captures him and encircles him. And finally, the green, which is kind of taking like the shape of looks like Swamp Thing, they'll later on explain this is how they perceive the green to look like. So that's the shape in their minds that it's taking, at least. And the green grabs a hold of Constantine and it's got, choking him around the neck. And finally, Superman's like, I can't wait anymore. And Superman flies in to start taking care of this, including using his heat vision because he knew from the airport that was effective. And Constantine purposely puts his hand out, and some of the the plant's taking the worst part of it, although it hurts really bad too, but it's getting rid of some of the affection on his hand. He's healed, but he's not cured, not by a long shot. So finally, Superman ends up taking care of the green, and Superman's pretty peeved at him. He's like, this isn't about saving the world, it's about saving your own neck, isn't it? And he's like, hey, the fact remains there's still a world to be saved. You want to come along for the ride. But before I do, I'm going to let you know that once I find Alec Holland, what's going to happen to him probably isn't going to jive with what you're into, you big old blue Boy Scout. And he's like, well, exactly what are you going to do to him? And then if you scroll down right there, look at Constantine is so bold to blow smoke into Superman's face. I mean, obviously that's not going to affect Superman, but just to have the kahunas to do that, So he's like, hey, essentially, if there's an Alec Holland out there, I have to kill him. If he's alive and out there, I have to kill him so he can merge back in to become the Swamp Thing. The green and him need to merge to become the Swamp Thing. And now we cut over back to Louisiana where Alec Holland is. And Alec is kind of like ready to go. He's saying, I can't stay here. And the scientist is like, oh, no, but I need to show you some stuff. And he's like, wait a minute. You're working on this biorestorative formula. I kind of remember this. They're like, yeah, but it's a little bit more advanced. And they show them how advanced it is. He says, this is who you are. And it reveals someone that looks exactly like Swamp Thing. And that's the end of issue number 2. Before we go on to issue number 3, I'll say hi to Cookie, just a little podcast who's popped in to check out Fanboys. Great to see you, my friend.
All right. So issue 3, the finale here. It's a great cover and this awesome variant cover. I gotta zoom out to check that out. Look at that. That's nice. I've always loved watercolor covers. I don't know why.
That would be a great one to get signed like in purple.
Ooh, yeah. Like a metallic purple.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So they do a quick recap here. I'm gonna skip that, but it really kicks off here with Madam Xanadu. This is really starting to turn into a Justice League Dark reunion. So They're in the tarot room, and they are these two don't know each other, so they're getting introduced at the first time. Madame Xanadu puts out a cigarette and says, "No smoking in the tarot parlor." And at this point in time, Madame Xanadu is blind until she goes into like a trance. Then she can see, which is why she has her face covered. As soon as they get into the trance, though, Boston shows up, and they're like, "Hey, who's the Brit? I'm John Constantine." You see, I'm trying to find the panel, and it's around here somewhere. But yeah, as soon as they hit the trance, he lights up another cigarette, which I thought was really funny. Not 5 seconds after she took the other one. So they're in this doing the seance or whatever. They're in this trance, and John willingly breaks the seance by himself, which causes him great pain, and I guess it's against the rules. So John Constantine, for a brief moment, is in that reality, and he could see like a barn, which I thought was pretty cool. Madame Xanadu scolds him for breaking the seance, but that barn or that building that he saw was the laboratory, where Alec Holland and the doctor from LexCorp is, and they're talking about different types of consciousness and basically that Swamp Thing himself is like just a giant organic robot, which I thought was a great line, by the way, that the doctor did. But we cut back to John Constantine, and he managed to somehow find that building. But as he arrives, he is greeted by local guards or whatever, which I thought was pretty funny. Here's another big ad, but when he was turning around, someone took out the guards, and it was Batman, and he says, "Batman, holy cow, you're here! I'm happy to see you. I'm glad you're on my side." And Batman's like, "Actually, John," where did he say it? "I'm here to stop you. The Swamp Thing is too dangerous. Alec Holland is this is all no good." So, even Boston Brand is here, the dead ghost. Swamp Thing kind of goes crazy. He's attacking everybody. Superman finally shows up, starts freeing people. He convinces Superman just to hold his hand for a second. Bam, transports him to another kind of altered state, and Swamp Thing goes to sleep. And this is where I'm going to stop, and Lasso's going to start.
Okay, so one thing that's going on inside while they're trying to break into this cabin and stuff too, this LexCorp technician, what he's trying to do is he's trying to do like a scan of Alec Holland, so they can create like an AI, like a copy, a duplicate of it, to inhabit the Swamp Thing so LexCorp can control it. So that's their evil motivation behind doing that. So Superman has arrived to help Batman and John Constantine out. And as you said, they went into the actual green to try to see what they can do to stop. Finally, they get inside the cabin after being in the green. They see Alec Holland. This was going to take like 30 plus hours to fully map itself out. And it looks like the LexCorp scientist is kind of split by this point. And they have Alec Holland now. They're not going to let Constantine harm him. They've pretty much said that. Alec Holland and Constantine are looking at each other, and Alec's kind of like, "I know you." And then Constantine's like, "Hey, if you remember me, then you have an idea why I'm here." And he's like, "Well, you're a mystic, and you want to make me one with the swamp. You want me to be that." And they see Swamp Thing there. And that's when the scientist busts back in. He's like, "No, the experiment." And Batman hits him right in the head, and his head flies off. So obviously this wasn't a human. Who knew? And Batman's like, "I don't know what LexCorp was doing here, but this can't be covered by EPA regulations." And John Constantine and Alec Holland are talking. He's like, Constantine saying, "Look, I came here to make a choice for you. I know what you're meant to be. But you're here, what would you choose?" And he said, "Well, I died once. I didn't choose it then, and now I want to live." And then Constantine finally says, "Bravo, mate. Life you shall have. Good luck, squire. You're going to need loads of it." And Batman's like, "Really? Just like that? You know, the Green, isn't it going to come looking for you?" Because the Green wanted to inhabit Constantine. If it couldn't have Alec Holland, it wanted to inhabit Constantine, which is what it was trying to do from that very first issue. And Constantine's kind of saying, well, it's just going to have to find a way to sort itself out, He's like, "I kind of did my best." And he says, "To be honest, I'd given no thoughts to the consequences of my decision or even why I made it. Was it my own free choice, or was it the Green still hanging onto a piece of my psyche? I don't know." So everyone essentially departs the swamp, and John Constantine looks up at the moon. He's like, "I don't suppose I'll ever know. But to be honest, do I look like I care? I can't be troubled to solve everyone's problems, can I? Get better things to do than mess about in this place, don't I?" And then if you look at the very bottom panel, which ends the story, you see a little bit of that Green coming up. And you don't know if it's to attack him or what's exactly going to happen here. But this is how the 3 issues miniseries ran. So, Tony, this is essentially kind of a Constantine story, as much as it's a Swamp Thing story, if not more than a Swamp Thing story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hello to Paul S., who stopped by.
Mr. Paul. This one, I agree. The search for Swamp Thing, but it was, John Constantine the whole time, which is okay. I like John Constantine. I have no problem with it. Those two kind of go hand in hand anyway. So nothing to lose there. But yeah, I thought this was a great story. So
do you know where this goes from here? Because this really felt like the beginning of an ongoing series, but it was just a 3-issue limited. What went on after this?
I don't remember, but check out Constantine New 52 Run.
Okay.
I believe it picks up from there, which I think, if memory serves me correct, there is a small run of Swamp Thing in New 52, which also has the tail end of that story. But yeah, I won't tell you the end, but it's pretty easy to figure out. I think the Hulk did it once. The Hulk and Bruce Banner were 2 different people.
Yeah, they were. So your thoughts, your grades, maybe out of a 1 to 10 scale of these 3 issues, just overall comments?
I like it. Out of 10, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I really enjoy whoever writes for John Constantine in this run. I think also did it for New 52. So I can see that. I can understand that writing style continuing over. So yeah, this scored big points for me. 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'll probably do the same thing. I had never read this before, but it was an interesting enough read that kept me wondering what was going to happen next and piqued my curiosity as to what direction we could go. Like I said, it definitely felt like it could have ongoing vibes. They had a lot of guest stars. For a Swamp Thing story, is Swamp Thing in it that much? Not really. Like I said, it's more John Constantine, but that's okay because I like that character as well. And just, I thought it was a fun pick. It was enjoyable.
It was.
Artwork was good. Story was good.
It was.
So.
Consistent. There were some good covers too. So
the main cover to 3, which is the one that I used in the thumbnail for this, I thought was my favorite cover out of the 3.
I found this whole run at my LCS. What they do is if someone trades in their whole collection and have a run or something, they tape that up and put it on the shelf. Here's this whole run for X amount of dollars. So that's how I found out about this. There is another Brightest Day spin-off, The Atom. Maybe but that's literally just 1 issue. It didn't get the 3 treatments.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Brightest Day stuff out there still. So keep an eye out for them while you're hunting.
Yeah, cool. Well, good pick, Tony. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
So Carlito is here with us. How you doing, Carlito? It's nice to have you on board. So jumping back to Paul's comment for a minute, too. First of all, great pickup. You got a $2 Wonder Woman #1, 1 in 25 variant. No one's going to get a better price than that. That's
free
pretty
when
cool.
I steal it.
Yeah. And your Justice League 17, I'm guessing that's the Silver Age one. That's what you're talking about from Volume 1.
Very cool.
That's pretty awesome. I have to jump over and see if that's one that I have. I think I do. Because, I'm really getting down there in my Justice Leagues. But Let's see if I have 17. Ooh, I don't. I have 16. So way to go. That's awesome. As we make our way into the book show portion, what's going on in your channel and what you got to share with us, Tony?
What's going on my channel? A lot of shorts coming out. Having some success with that. And it's weird because I'll have a lot of success with the shorts. And then when I try to upload a regular video, nothing. Nothing. I'd go a whole day and get like 1 view. So I'm not sure where the disconnect is. So I'm trying to experiment and find that out. So we'll see. But as for a book show, I kept it Brightest Day theme and just did whole Brightest Night or Brightest Day 0 signed by Joe Pardo and Jeff Johns. So
nice. That's a good cover.
It is. It's a great cover. Very, very happy that I could meet the both of them and get them to sign this cover. Peter Tomasi is next to sign this year, so I'll have 3 slowly getting them taken off the list. But and as for another book show, real quick, like I said, I grabbed a pack of variants. I'll just show you what I picked up real quick. Batman and Robin number 1 in 25.
Oh, nice.
Very cool. Dark Knights of Steel number 12, 1 in 25. Titans number 3, 1 in 25. Green Lantern number 3, 1 in 25. You're noticing a pattern. Batman 136. And if you guessed 1 in 25, you are correct.
Nice.
And last but not least, Titans number 5, filling it in here with the 1 in 50
Sweet.
black and white variant cover. So,
and were these mystery packs then?
Yeah, it was a complete mystery. I did get some Marvel stuff. I'm not going to show it because
Tom will get mad.
Tom will get mad. That, and I'm gonna give it to somebody. I think in the chat here.
Cool.
Because I know they do way more Marvel stuff than me, so
it
doesn't make sense for me to have it. So
okay, cool.
AOK's galore going out.
Yeah, very nice. So on my channel, I did back issue of the week like we always do on Monday morning. The back issue of the week, the current one that's up, is Metal Man. You know, who we featured on the Retro Review in the past.
Yes.
And I did a Silver Age Metal Man. And then I did my comic book editions video. I showed about half a dozen back issues into my collection. I think 4 of them were DC. So you saw characters like Teen Titans, DC Challenge was in there too, and a few other books too. So that's already up on my channel. Coming on my channel, the back issue of the week YouTube short tomorrow. They will be Marvel themed. It will actually kind of maybe tie in to the X-Men 97, maybe, episode that's coming out next week or this upcoming week, the next episode. We'll see. We'll see if I did some predicting there. I got a John's Comics with Kids AOK unboxing video dropping Tuesday on my channel. So there's some nice stuff to share in that. And then for a book show portion, we mentioned Trina Robbins had passed away. So I said that between Wonder Woman Volume 1 and Wonder Woman Volume 2, they did a 4-issue limited series that was like an untold story of Wonder Woman. It took place in the 1950s with Trina doing the art, and the art was in the style of Harry G. Peter, like an homage to him. And this is issue 1, which I'm going to do as a back issue of the week YouTube short coming up. And Trina was a co-plotter and the artist for this too. So one interesting thing about this, Tony, and this story, originally what was planned for Wonder Woman at the end of Crisis was she was going to be turned into a statue.
Oh.
And which is kind of odd. This is the only published thing, and I'll make myself big here. This is the only published page of that statue that ever came out because they changed their minds by the time that they got to the end of Crisis. They added 2 more issues in than they had planned on doing. It was going to be 10 issues and then History of the DC Universe 1 and 2 to make up the full 12. Instead, they did the full 12 issues and then they did the history of the DC universe as two separate things. But that original Fate of Wonder Woman, this is the only book that ever played off of that because this was already in production before they changed their mind.
I wonder why that would pop into someone's head. Let's turn Wonder Woman into a statue.
Yeah. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. So when I met George Perez, one of the things I asked him is something that I never was able to get an answer to. And I said, how were you going to reboot her if she was a statue? You know, how were you going to... And because, you know, at that time, he wasn't going to be the one to reboot her. You know, that wasn't, he had not signed on at that time. He said, we didn't know. We were going to leave that up to whatever creative team came in to do it. He said, we didn't have an answer for that.
Interesting.
So, but that was the question I always wondered about. At least I finally got answered.
And the answer was they didn't know.
They didn't know.
So it's still kind of up for debate.
Yeah, it is. So I thought in honor of Trina Robbins' passing that this would be good. It's a 4-issue miniseries. You know, another legend doesn't get as much credit as she should.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I wanted to show tonight.
Very interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that was a run or a storyline that was even being considered. So, learn something new every day. Look, I've been collecting a long time. Never knew that. That's very cool.
Yeah, and you know, at that time too, they had to publish something Wonder Woman because we didn't know it at the time. It didn't come out until years upon years later.
Contract, yeah.
There was a contract that she had to be published so many times a year or DC was going to lose the rights to the character. So that explains why this series came out. And I did remember reading an article one time too. They wanted to make it Sensation Comics, and DC, for whatever reason, was completely against that. 100% against it. It couldn't be Wonder Woman title and it couldn't be Sensation Comics title. So that's how they just kind of randomly came up with the Legend of Wonder Woman. And then years later, just, you know, more in modern times, within the last 5-6 years or so, they did a Legend of Wonder Woman Volume 2 series, limited series, which was actually really good. So, yeah, that's what I got tonight.
Awesome. Bring in the fire.
Yeah. So as we kind of wind up the greatest DC comic show on YouTube this week, I thank everyone for joining us live. So Tony, since Foo's not going to be here, it will advance to my pick for next week. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now, because if I say it, if I put this out in the universe, then I have to do it. Because this is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. And you and I are going to do it, review it next week.
Oh, man. I think I know what it is.
What do you think it is?
Is it the ads? The Hostess ads?
No.
Okay. Well,
no, I want to do that too.
Yeah,
I do want to do that. Okay. Yeah. I got 4 words. You ready?
Yep.
Who is Donna Troy?
I don't know.
We'll find out next week on Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a great, successful week, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Peace.